Well, yeah, Sean, this is the location where many of the protests have taken place. This is Versailles. It's a restaurant in Little Havana where Cuban Americans gather frequently. But what I can tell you is that the latest protests here in Miami are demanding a U.S. military intervention. Yesterday, groups of thousands of them blocked a highway that caused a lot of traffic here in Miami, despite the police saying that this was illegal, but no arrests were made. But what I can tell you is that in Cuba, protests continue in many different cities, and we are hearing reports that at least one person has been killed. But independent reporting from Cuba states that there have been many people that have been killed by the regime there. And we do know that yesterday, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis held a roundtable where he discussed this issue with many Cuban American leaders, including Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar, and they are weighing all the different options that they can try and convince the Biden administration to use, including some there were saying that a military intervention could be necessary. That was the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, who says that that should still be a possibility, and they shouldn't just say that they shouldn't do that because they don't agree with it. And another thing that I want to mention is that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is facing criticism because yesterday during a press conference, he stated that Cubans or Haitians that come to the area seeking refuge will not be led into the United States. And I want to play a clip for you for what they're going to do if somebody has a good case about it.
If individuals establish a well-founded fear of persecution or torture, they are referred to third countries for resettlement.
So he's saying that they will be sent to a third country, but that's a double standard because the Biden administration, obviously, with Central Americans, they let them in if they're seeking refuge. So when it's not politically convenient for them, they're going to turn them away and send them elsewhere. It's a little bit of a double standard, don't you think?
Leonardo, you mentioned a great point. It's something we brought up earlier. I just wanted to ask you, and I see a few people behind you there, those going back and forth, and you mentioned that's where the protests are being organized. And I'm just curious, have you spoken to those people behind you? What is their main mission? What is the biggest message they're trying to get out? What are they telling you?
Well, they want freedom. They want an end to communism. They say that if they're protesting in Cuba, they also want to protest here in Miami. And it's nothing related to coronavirus, as we have heard some people in the Biden administration saying that this could be because of a rise in COVID cases. This is not the case. This is 62 years of oppression by the communist regime, by lack of freedom there, censorship and propaganda that has plagued the island for many, many years.
If you can, let's try to get a soundbite from them if you can, or get them on camera live. We'll talk to them. We'd love to, not now, but at a different time, just to hear their voice on it. That's important to get it out there. All right, Leonardo Feldman joining us live. That's our Miami correspondent. Leo, great job. Thanks.
Thank you. For more reaction, we want to welcome in Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida joining us live on the program. Congressman, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening in to Leonardo's report as well. You've been following the situation, the ongoing anti-government protest in Cuba, as well as the Cuban Americans who are protesting in Florida. And you tweeted out something that I found to be interesting, noting that if Democrats are still wondering why Hispanic Americans are fleeing the Democrat Party, look no further than the utter silence from these Democrats regarding the Cuban people's protest of communism. You mentioned AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Bernie Sanders, Ayanna Pressley, and Elizabeth Warren as well. Congressman, why is it that you believe we haven't heard so much from these leaders?
Because the ideology of the far left mirrors the ideology of the Cuban regime. It is a totalitarian Marxist communist ideology. That is what's happened on the island of Cuba for the last 62 years. It is the same ideology that has taken away private property from the Cuban people. It's the same ideology that actually limits the ability to speak and actually puts people in jail in the island of Cuba. If you take the radical left's ideology and you play that out, what you have is the totalitarian regime in Cuba. You have the theocracy that exists in Iran, countries that do not allow for opposing views of free society. People actually keep the fruits of their labor. So the reason why the political left is silent is because they agree with the ideology of the Cuban regime. They might try to throw out words and say they don't agree with people being persecuted, but they definitely agree with the political structure and the ideological structure. That's why they're silent. That's why you hear nothing from the left.
But what have you heard from your constituents, specifically those who might be Cuban Americans, as to what they see America offers that you won't find in Cuba?
I was actually at a Cuba Libre protest and march yesterday in Naples. There was one yesterday in Fort Myers. I was out there at the one in Naples yesterday. What they want is more support from the United States government. They want this president to stand up and actually fight for the Cuban people, because it is clear that the Cuban government has already tamped down on the protesters and the dissidents. They've already jailed many people. They've cut off the internet. And what they want to see is action from our country. Listen, if we're going to be the country that stands for freedom and liberty across the globe, which I definitely believe that's what we stand for, that's what we have been, we should definitely stand for it for a country that's 90 miles south off the coast of Florida.
And we've heard from Miami Mayor Francis Suarez saying military action might be the appropriate response to dealing with the ongoing unrest. Would you be in support of such action if it were to get to that extreme?
I think military action has to be a last resort. The one thing we have to be aware of is that anytime we send our men and women over into harm's way, we better be prepared to deal with the entire situation. But the one issue I'll tell you that I don't want to hear is what some in the Biden administration and on the left are saying about relieving sanctions. If we relieved sanctions on Cuba, all that would happen was it would empower the regime even more. It would strengthen their grip on the Cuban people. That's the last thing we should do. Every option needs to be on the table, because this is a humanitarian crisis. I know the left loves talking about the humanitarian crisis, but this is one. It's been happening for the last 60 years. The Cuban people in the United States know full well what's going on, and the United States must take a larger role.
I want to talk to you about another crisis, a tragic one, in fact, in Surfside, Florida. We've been following, of course, those search and rescue efforts following the condo collapse at the Champlain Towers. We've now learned that the death toll has risen to 95. Still, people are unaccounted for. Talk to me, Congressman, about what you're hearing from those family members who are waiting for answers, and what does justice really look like following this collapse?
You know, this is a major tragedy, not only for the family members, but for Miami and also for our state. Let's be clear, we are definitely in a mode where it's going to be very, very difficult to find survivors, remote to find survivors at this point. For the family members who are still waiting to find their loved ones, please be patient. They're still clearing rubble. Now, going forward into what justice looks like, it's going to be very difficult. You have to understand that condo associations are frankly, they're really like tiny governments where the members, the owners of every unit are a part of that government. And so it's not clear what construction was going to begin, why it was delayed for a couple of years following the report. All that stuff still has to come to light. But it's a very tragic event. One of the things that we've already seen is that there are many buildings now are going back into their own structural reports. They're trying to get those repairs done as quickly as they can. There's been a couple of buildings that have been evacuated as a result of what their structural reports have said.
And again, what have you heard from local leadership there, Surfside Mayor, Mayor of Miami-Dade County, and then, of course, Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, as well? How are you viewing their handling of this crisis and their response?
Well, I got to tell you, the leadership, both Republican and Democrat, when it comes to this issue, has been fantastic. They've all been on the same page. They've been operating and cooperating together. It's been all hands on deck. I know in my district here in Southwest Florida, we've sent 3 or 4 rescue crews over to Champlain Towers. Everybody's been doing everything they can here. No partisanship, no politics. It's about the people who were able to be pulled out and also finding really the answers about this tragedy and what we can do to make sure it's prevented going forward.
Yeah, this moment of tragedy, bringing people together to comfort one another and support them. Congressman Byron Daniels of Florida joining us live on the program. Congressman, thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.